guys, I'm back. I'm just gonna do some just chatting here. Turn off the Elgato really quick. And let me just resize webcam. Boom. You get a big me today. At least for now. Let me pull up some of the stories I wanted to cover today. Oh yeah. So I mean you guys saw my cat, Misty. She's a she's a cute kitty. Definitely really nice cat. She is clumsy as fuck though, let me tell you. And the day that I determined that she might be one of the clumsiest cat ever is when she slow fell off my desk. And it's not the desk I currently have. It's actually the desk I use for projects now. But basically, it's got like a... So you have like the regular desktop part. There's a keyboard tray right below it that you can pull out, which I always put my keyboard on there because she would crawl up on my desk. And then I was like, well, if she lays up on top of my desk, like my keyboard and my mouse are separate, so she's not going to interfere with like what I'm doing. But yeah, there was this one time where she was on top of my desk and like she stood up and I can't remember what she was doing. I think she like was sitting towards the edge of it and I think she went to go clean herself or something. But yeah, she like fell off of the top part of my desk onto the keyboard tray and like I thought she stopped. And then she fell from there into my lap. So a third level at that, or third level at that point. And then from my lap, she actually fell onto this tote that was next to me. And then from there, she fell to the ground. So it was like 5 different levels of falling. And it was the slowest thing ever, too. Like, it was the course of probably like 20 seconds or 30 seconds where she'd like fall, come to a rest, fall, come to a rest, fall, come to a rest, fall, come to a rest. And like when she fell finally fell to the ground, she like looked up at me with like these pitiful eyes, like I just fell. And it's like, Misty, like I know you just fell, but Jesus kitty, like why did you why did you fall that far? I thought cats were supposed to be graceful, you know? But definitely not graceful. I've seen her do other things that are less than graceful too, but that has been the most like well, the most egregious offense of being not graceful ever. Which is fair. I got the grace of I always describe myself as having the grace of a drunken gorilla. I am not a graceful person. I often like dome myself with things. Pretty interesting. Which there have been a few occasions where it's like I've domed myself real good, and like I can point out those occasions where it's like, yeah, that was really bad. I don't know how that didn't cause some sort of like brain trauma or any damage or anything. The worst one was when I was a kid. Basically, I challenged a friend to a race down this dirt hill, and it was like, okay, I'm going pretty quick. I'm going to win this race, and I did win the race. I got to the bottom of the hill quicker, and at the bottom of the hill, basically, it like curved. So I was like, oh, I'll follow the curve, and yeah, I'll ride it out, and that way I can slow down a little bit more slowly. Well, when I got to the bottom and I tried to do the curve, my tires started slipping a little bit, so it left me going straight, which actually made it so I ended up going into this dirt embankment. And from there, it launched me off my bike onto the top of this dirt embankment. And there, up there was a rock, like a very, probably like this size rock or something. And I went head first into it. No helmet, no nothing. Like I was probably like 8 or 9 at the time. And I hit that thing head first. I don't know how fast, but it was pretty fast because again, I just came down a dirt hill. It was a decent sized hill, and I really didn't have a chance to stop. So I was actually surprised that that one didn't like do me in or cause brain damage or give me a concussion or something. I mean, maybe it did, but honestly, concussions are kind of one of those things that are hard to gauge. Um, I do remember, I was a kid, so I cried on that one. I definitely cried. Another one that I remember is it was a gym one. Me and one of my gym buddies, because I had two gym buddies I used to work out with all the time. Mavriz was one of my gym buddies, and I had another one, Zach. Yeah, I think it was with Mavriz though. And basically, yeah, we were doing calf raises, or maybe it was with Zach. I can't remember. It blends together sometimes. But yeah, we were doing calf raises on the machine. We were doing them. It had this barbell that was attached to straps. So if you want to, do squats or something and not have to worry about having a spotter, you could just use the barbell that was attached to straps, and it would basically squat or spot it for you. So that way, you wouldn't get crushed under the weight if you couldn't squat it up or something. But your regular bar height's like here, and then it was like further up, probably like a foot or two above where the regular bar height for me would be. We were doing calf raises though, and with that you have to like stand on your toes, so it's like your foot's flat, and then you're like that, go back down. And yeah, like I was doing calf raises, and I raised up super quick and just hit myself super hard in the head with that thing. And yeah, I forget which gym buddy it was, but they made this comment like, "Oh man, are you all right? Like, do we need to check the bar?" It's like, "Yeah, you should probably check the bar. It's probably bent with the fact that it just hit my head." Don't think I suffered any sort of injury from that though, except for an injury to my ego, probably. Late, like recently though, here at the house, we've been setting up this fence. For the fence, what we're doing is we're driving T stakes into the ground, which they have like I would say like kind of like teeth on one side, and then they have a little T part towards the bottom that helps hold them in place, make sure they doesn't shift. But yeah, I was like trying to drive one of them in, and like when I was pulling the fence post driver down, it caught on one of the top teeth and slammed right into my head. I think this was like maybe 5 days ago. But God, that one hit super hard, and it was my friend, my best one of my best friends, who is one of my roommates. He was there, so he saw it because he was the one holding the stake. And then my other roommates are actually his parents, and both of them were out there and they saw it. And then one of our neighbors was out there too, chatting with his parents. So like I had four people watch me dome myself with that. Luckily, his mom grabbed me an ice pack just to keep the swelling down, because I told her it's like I feel fine, but can you get me an ice pack because this thing's gonna swell really big otherwise. And she did, and it kept the swelling down. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. I thought I might have split my head open though, because it got super hot. And you know how sometimes when your like skin feels super hot, it almost feels like you have some sort of liquid on it. So I kept rubbing at my head. I was like, "Fuck, I must be bleeding." Like it feels like I have blood on my head because of how hot it was. I don't think I got a concussion or anything from that, but if I did, it would have been well deserved. I should have been a little bit more careful. Like I probably shouldn't have brought the um, fence post driver quite as far up off of the stake as I did. But yeah, I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, can you drive the next post for me? Like, I just need a little bit of a break after that, because it was like, I wouldn't say it was painful, but it was definitely one of those things that kind of knocked the motivation out of me for a moment." And yeah, I just got right back to it after he drove the next fence post. I started driving more fence posts. I think I drove like two or three, and then I had him drive another one, and then I drove like three or four. I had him drive the last one because I was getting pretty tired. But yeah, it's T stakes, it's wire fabric. It's basically going to be a fence that we put up that we can grow vines across. So it gives privacy, but also we can have like basically things like blackberries or raspberries or other types of berry bushes growing on it. So it'll also be very utilitarian. This next story is a little bit unrelated to those, but it does come from a conversation that I was actually having with my friend's mom the other day, and it's basically a an opportunity that I missed when I was much younger. So this is going to be one of those TMI situations. You guys don't need any TMI stuff. You can tune this one out. But this was way back in the day when I had a fiance, ex fiance at this point, but he was my fiance at the time. Like, we got done with some sexier stuff, and got some fluids on her. And that wasn't like an uncommon thing, but when it happened though, she broke out into this really bad case of like hives, and like we were both so concerned. It's like, whoa, what the fuck happened? Like, why are you breaking out in hives? And like, we washed it up, we treated it with some sort of ointment or whatever. And I thought for a bit after that, I was like, what it probably was. I bet you in your own fluids, like you can probably transfer allergens. And if I would have been an enterprising young man, like at like 18 or 19 or whatever, I would have got a grant for that because years later, like I had looked, because I'd looked at that time to see if there's any studies, and there wasn't a study at the point where that happened. But years later, there was actually a study that went over that exact thing and came to the same conclusion that, hey, these types of fluids, they can carry allergens. I was like, I knew it. I was right. I could have been some sort of like research person. I could have a Nobel Peace Prize right now, probably, for my work in figuring out how allergens can be transferred through various bodily fluids. Because, I mean, that'd be an easy enough experiment to run. Um, you have a control group where there's no allergens ingested or used by the people providing fluids. And then you have, the actual test group where they have allergens, and you see if they cause any sort of adverse reactions in the people with allergies. And yeah, I missed out on that one. It'd been like a $1 million, multi-million-dollar idea for a research grant. I know. I need to be more enterprising, honestly. I'm trying to get better at that though. That's why I keep running these community point goals. Like this 24-hour stream is a point goal that I ran. It's like, yeah, I feel like it helps with getting people involved in the streams and stuff. Maybe get some more viewers, more followers, stuff like that. Uh, so yeah, I do thank you guys for any of you guys that helped with the 24-hour point goal, adding points towards it, because I was very excited for it. I did want to do a 24-hour stream. It had been quite a while since I've done one. Um, I was looking forward to it basically, and I was like, I need an excuse for one because I don't feel like you do a 24-hour stream out of the blue, Like you have to have a reason. So like we'll set a community point goal. We'll make it something that, will be easy enough to attain. And yeah, you guys smashed it out of the ballpark. I think it took less than a week to meet the goal, which is pretty surprising because that basically requires all like the maximum point donation for multiple people. So you guys again, exceeded my expectations on that. We do have another point goal right now if you guys want to see. It is the kingcrab takedown and cleaning. I don't think we have that many points towards that goal, but if you guys do want to see it, I will take apart and clean my kingcrab on stream for you guys. If you don't know what the kingcrab is, I'll give you a little bit of a hint. But yeah, a little bit interesting. I mean, I know a lot of my viewers are not actually from the US, so you probably don't have much experience with firearms. I figured that's the best reason for me to do it, is just so you guys can kind of see the inner workings of a firearm, see what it's like to clean it, to maintain them, to care for them. And I can also talk like various facts and history of the kingcrab, especially mine, since it's not the TT33, it's actually TTC, which is from the, I believe it's probably pronounced Kugir, but I'll have to look it up just to make sure. I want to fuck that up on stream when it's like actually something that I need to sound like I'm educated about, you know? So yeah, if you guys get that smashed out of the park too, that would be awesome, because honestly, I'd love to share that with you guys. I mean, if not, it's fair. Not something you want to see at that point. Not going to blame you. But yeah, I think the point goal for that is 15,000. I think it's either my viewer Denki or Neo Copper. One of those two has been basically donating all their points to it so far because they really want to see it. They know what a kingcrab is. They're really excited to see the takedown and cleaning of one. Otherwise, though, I do have some other point goals in mind. I'm thinking about doing a uncapped follow-a-thon. I know there's subathons, but I don't know that I want to necessarily do a subathon. Follow-a-thon would be cool, though. Just get some more followers and stuff. I'm kind of aiming towards getting 100 followers right now, seeing as we're actually only 19 away. We picked up several followers today, and I thank you guys for that. Very appreciated. Like, Twitch is a very cool place, honestly, because there's so much community support. Like, I know when you look at the YouTube side of entertainment stuff, there's not as much community support, whereas Twitch is like super community driven. Like, everyone helps each other out. People help new streamers learn like new techniques, and they'll definitely give advice and stuff when people need it. So super cool. Basically though, I'd like to do an uncapped follow-a-thon. That way we can get more followers sometime, and if we do get to 100 followers sometime soon, I'll do another 24-hour stream. It'll probably be like today's, where it'll be some Animal Crossing, it'll be whatever other game I'm playing at that time for stream, and probably something with Mavriz as well, since Mavriz and I collab quite often. He's pretty cool. He's one of my close personal friends, like in real life, so I've known him for probably 14-ish, maybe 13 to 15 years, somewhere in there. I actually met him in middle school, so would be the 8th grade. So it's not like I met him in the middle of middle school. It was the very tail end of middle school. And yeah, he's a cool guy though. He knows how to rub me the wrong way lots, but that's just how a friend who has known you for a long time is. They know how to push your buttons and stuff. But yeah, no, probably include some of that. I think that's what we're like. That's where we're going to end the stream off today. Is me and Mavriz playing some Tales of Symphonia. I'm really looking forward to that because, it's a game that he really enjoys. It's a game that enjoying. It's the first time we're playing, or I'm playing through it, I should say. So definitely excited to get to play some more of that. The last time we ended off, it was basically we had like a total party wipe, so a game over situation. Wasn't the best way to end off, so I'm hoping today, when we do it, we'll end off in a much better situation. We'll see though. But yeah, I would like to grow the channel more because honestly, I like having you guys around. If there was more of you to have around, that'd be cool. I'm a very social person generally. I like talking to people. Um, I would say pretty extroverted. I get energy from conversations and stuff. Like, I know Maveriz and then like a lot of my other friends are pretty introverted, but I feel like that's kind of how it goes. Like, extroverts seem to do really well with like talking and getting introverts out of their shell a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully things are expanding. Huh. Yeah. Let me just try to words. Let me take a drink. Actually, I'm thirsty as hell. The one thing I've noticed about 24-hour streams, because this is the second one I've ever done, um, they always make me super thirsty because like I got to keep my throat hydrated, and that can be a bit of a challenge sometimes for me. But yeah, no, I'm already drinking. Let's see, drank a gallon within like the first 13 hours. I think I'm a third of the way through this next gallon, so definitely keeping well hydrated here. I wish a little bit of that hydration would go towards my nasal cavity though. I feel like my sinuses are like, hey man, we're feeling a little bit dry. That's neither here nor there. One thing I did want to bring up is if you guys are a long time viewer of this channel, you've probably noticed that I went from not having a do-rag to always wearing a do-rag, basically. It's kind of funny how that came about, actually, because it's not like I actually went out and was like, oh, I'm going to get some do-rags or anything. It actually came about because me and some friends, I think it was about a year ago, give or take, might have been a little bit less, a little bit more. We were playing some dominoes, and one of my friends in our friend group was like, "Yo, Cam, you would be the do rag guy in our dominoes group." I was like, "Oh yeah, really?" He's like, "Yeah, really." He's like, "I'm gonna get you some do rags," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure you are." Like, I mean, I figured maybe he would do it eventually, but I was kind of betting on him not. So yeah, he did eventually pull through. I think it was about a year afterwards, basically. And yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I'll learn how to tie a do rag. I'll learn how to wear a do rag properly. And honestly, they're super comfortable. Like, even though I never imagined I would like them beforehand, like after I started wearing them regularly, it's like, I actually can't imagine a day without wearing a do rag. Like, it's just a super comfortable hat. I mean, kind of a hat, basically. It keeps my head protected from the sun. And since you got the tail end on the back, it also keeps your neck protected. So that was pretty fun, pretty exciting. Um, I got a white one and the black one currently. Those are the two we got, and both of them have the character Rem on them because like he knows that I have a whole bunch of Rem stuff, so he's like, I just gotta fit that theme for you, make you seem like more of a weeb, which is fair, kind of a weeb. Like I wouldn't say I'm one of those like super weebs or something, but a bit of a weeb. But I did add a channel redemption for changing out do rags, which Hasn't been redeemed this stream, but I know that on my last stream, Maveriz redeemed one of those. That's why normally I wear the black do-rag. He made it, like, he changed me out to the white one, so I've been wearing that one since, until it gets changed again. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it won't get changed again. I'll just be wearing the white one for the rest of the time. Unrelated story. Unrelated story, but one that I quite enjoy. And actually, I guess it kind of fits some of the themes we talked about earlier during like Animal Crossing and stuff. Is I mean, because we were talking about drinking, I just want to talk about a moment of drunken clarity I once had at a concert. So, the Red Fang concert. First time I ever saw Red Fang. They're kind of a stoner rock band, so substance abuse is obviously something you just have to do at that sort of concert. And yeah, like basically we were buying pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. And yeah, I was drinking, and I finally got to this point of like drunken clarity where I'm like, I need to stop right now. No more beer. If you drink any more, you'll get sick. Like I fucked the whore of knowledge, and she gave me the answer, and I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna stop. So I told my friend who was pouring beers and stuff. I was like, hey, I'm done, man. I don't need any more. Like I'm good. And then like I think not but like 5 or 10 minutes later, he pours a beer and he's like, eh? I'm like, no man, I'm done. If I drink any more, I'm going to get sick. I'm at the perfect point right now. And he just kind of like kept, and it's like, no man, I can't. If I do any more, I'll get sick. And he offered like one more time, and I was like, you're probably right. You're probably right. So I take it. And I take like a pretty good swig of it. Maybe like 2 or 3 gulps. And then it hits my stomach, and like the carbonation starts hitting. And I instantly feel sick. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, I need to throw up. Like, I went from like real good to real bad all in the course of that like one drink. And it like, yeah, I didn't drink the full beer. It was just that one drink I took of it. So it's like, okay, I need to go throw up. So I go hobble myself to the bathroom drunkenly. And when I get to the bathroom, I'm like, okay, let's go to the toilet. I look over at the toilet. The door is closed. It's taken up. Someone's in there. Like, fuck. It's like, okay, maybe I can go for the trash can, which was like over on the other side. And it's like, trash can was like right next to the sink, and someone was super close to the trash can because they were washing their hands in the sink, which meant that the trash can and the sink were no longer viable options. I was like, fuck, maybe the urinal, like, as long as I get it in something that can flush it down or something that can be easily disposed of, it should be fine, right? Both the urinals taken up. So it's like, oh fuck. Like, there's nothing left. Like, and I'm trying to fight the fucking, upchuck feeling that's coming at that point. And I can't. It beats me. It bests me. And I throw up right there. Like, just basically point straight down and throw up. And like, I felt really relieved, but I felt really bad about it too, because like I looked down, there's throw up on the floor now. Like there's some on my shoes, and there's this dude right next to me. And like I know I got some on his fucking shoes too. And I was like, oh dude, I'm sorry, man. Like I need to throw up, and all the options were taken, and I just couldn't hold it. And he looks at me. It's like, it's all right, man. It's a Red Fang concert. I was like, yeah, you're right. I just walk off. Like, that was the worst logic ever. Like, that doesn't excuse me for throwing up on the floor, getting all over your shoes and shit, and making a mess. But in the drunken stupor I was at that point, it's like, yeah, no, you're right. That makes perfect sense. Red Fang concert, it's acceptable. I walk off and I go tell that to my friend. Like, when I was like, hey man, I threw up. but it's all right. It's a Red Fang concert. He was like, dude, that logic doesn't work. It's like, hey man, the guy in the bathroom told me it's fine. I puked on his shoes, so I think he has a pretty good say in it. Man, that was I just love that though, because yeah, I had the perfect moment of clarity. Like, you shouldn't drink anymore, and yeah, I was right. I was 100% right because I had switched to water. Like, I always have ammo when drinking. I will drink really heavily at the beginning of the night, and then towards the end of the night, like, I'll either slow down or stop and just start drink, like, only drink water at that point, which is usually a pretty good way to not get hungover. Maintaining hydration. Then before you are fully done, also getting some food in your system. But yeah, no, that time, I just I gave in to a bit of peer pressure, which I thought was like, he's probably right. My friend, like, he's drank a lot more than me. He knows what a good point is. He was wrong though. I was wrong to trust him. But yeah, I don't get hangovers often, but when I do, like, they're usually rough ones. One that I do remember is it was me and like two of my closest friends. Like, basically, we're like brothers, and yeah, we're drinking. Like, me and one of them are drinking, basically the same amount each, and yeah, we're pretty fucked up, and we get down to, I was like, I got like half a bottle of like half of a I think it was half of a half gallon of vodka in my car. Like, we could polish that off. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, we could do that. So yeah, I bust that out and we started drinking on that, and it was, yeah, it was not good vodka. It was terrible. And yeah, that was a moment where I upchucked. But I was hungover the next day. Like, I felt pretty worthless. I got up and I was like, oh fuck me. Like, I'm not feeling good. Like, my head hurts. Like, I feel so sick right now. It's like, okay, let's put some food in my system and get some more water in me. After that, it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel better. My friend that was keeping up with me though, he had alcohol poisoning, so I was like, I think I got the better of that exchange at that point because I was hungover, but he was like, you know, dying. I'm not actually dying, but he felt like he was. Apparently, he had to stop like every 30 minutes to puke or something when he was on his way home, because I think his girlfriend at the time had came for him to take him home. Yeah, like, he was throwing up like every, I think it was like 15 to 30 minutes. Like, that sounds miserable, bud, because like, I got up and I threw up like once or twice and I was done. But yeah, we went to an event that day, and it was a miserable event. Like, I like to go to anime conventions from time to time, which that's what that event was, and that was the least enjoyment that I had gotten out of one in terms of just how terrible I felt. I mean, the events and stuff were cool, but God, man, I felt so miserable that whole time. But he went with us, and he felt even more miserable. Though there was a couple of times where I said things to his girlfriend that, like, she laughed at and he totally thought was like kind of offensive, which is funny because normally he's a really offensive guy. So I don't get it. I was like, dude, he's laughing. It's fine. It's not like I said anything she took insult to, because I'll say some offensive things to people sometimes, but I actually hate, like, when I say something that is meant jokingly and they actually take offense to. Like, I've backtracked jokes because of that, where it's like, oh fuck, my bad. Like, I didn't mean this in a malicious way. Like, literally, it was just a friendly way. But I forget that some people have boundaries and limits to as to what they'll joke about. Where it's like I'll joke about anything, honestly. Um, I mean, not necessarily on stream because again, there's lots of people out there with different limits and boundaries. I try to keep it a little bit more level. But yeah, in real life, I definitely have a lot less filter, and sometimes it bites me in the ass. Not too often, but sometimes. And then it's like, okay, I'll legitimately apologize when I'm in the conversation with someone. It's like, oh, I'm sorry that like I actually hurt your feelings with something that I thought was just going to be a nice joke, and yeah, just rubbed you the wrong way or something. Because yeah, sometimes I can see why. I just forget some people aren't as sarcastic as me. Though I'm like so sarcastic that I once had a chick ask me when I was dating her, like, can't you ever be serious? Which, being a very sarcastic person, I told her no, because it's first off, yes, of course I have serious moments, but like you asked a very sarcastic person if they could ever be serious. Like, what did you expect? The answer wasn't going to be yes. It was no. It was a resounding no. Yeah, that relationship ended like basically right after that, which I thought was funny. uh, oh, talking about like times that I've ruined dates or relationships. I remember there was this like one chick I went out on a date with, and it was a dinner date. We had a nice dinner, and at the very end, I ordered this turtle sundae, which was like ice cream, hot fudge, and then I think maybe like caramel, a whole bunch of peanuts, like a fuck ton of peanuts. And I was eating through it, and she's like, "Oh, how is it?" And I looked at her straight face, and I was like, "Oh, it's really good." Just I don't know. I don't know if these peanuts will be good for my deathly peanut allergy. Like I said it basically just like that, and like she like looked back at me. She's like, "Oh my god, really? Like, are you being serious?" It's like I looked at her and then like deadpan. I was like, "No." Yeah, that was the last date for that. She was done after that. I was like, okay, that's fair. Like she didn't get the sarcasm I was laying out, and I thought it was pretty funny. Like most everyone I tell that to is like, yeah, no, that'd be a funny joke. Because what person who has a deathly peanut allergy orders something advertised with peanuts and then eats it when it's chock full of peanuts? I don't know. I don't know. But she didn't get my sarcasm. That's always a point of contention. Ah, hey there, Asian. Just scrolling randomly before going to bed, found your channel, spreading some love by wishing you the best. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for wishing me a happy, beautiful life, a smile, and spreading the love. I hope you have a great day, and hope that you sleep well since you're heading to bed soon. Yeah, that's always appreciated. I do enjoy paying it forward. Paying it forward's really, really good. Um, there have definitely been times where I've helped people in terms of whether it's monetarily or even giving hitchhikers rides. Like giving hitchhikers rides is something I do somewhat regularly because I've been there before. Like it sucks when you need a ride, especially if you need a ride that's pretty far. But yeah, you just gotta pay it forward sometimes, and it doesn't it doesn't usually pay off for you in like any sort of return. But I think it does good for you, being charitable, helping people. Like even if it doesn't give you any sort of like reward, it at least gives you some sort of like accomplishment. And I don't know, it's just nice seeing people either succeed or have a better spot in life because of something you did. So definitely appreciate paying it forward like that. Oh, yeah, since I brought up hitchhikers, actually, I've had some weird hitchhiking experience. Not in terms of me hitching, but in terms of hitchhikers that I've given rides to. I'm gonna drink a little bit more water to rehydrate my throat for this one. Well, I guess for these two. So in this neighborhood that I used to live in, I don't know what it was, but like it, there was a couple of times where I pulled up into my driveway at home, and I would have a hitchhiker approach, like someone wandering through the neighborhood, and like, "Hey, can I get a ride?" It's like, okay, like sure. The first one was this guy who, when I had talked to him, apparently he was actually South African, which he was, I guess, more of the what you'd consider colonialist South African, since definite European heritage. But yeah, like he showed up and he was like, "Hey, like, can I get a ride? Like, I'm trying to get to this chick's house, but I'm actually pretty lost. Like, I'm not from this area. Like, I think he had moved with his mom from South Africa like not too long before that. So he was like completely in the wrong neighborhood. I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll give you a ride. Like, I mean, what else am I gonna do? Like, I literally just pulled up in my driveway. It's late. I might as well get this guy where he needs to be because obviously he still needs somewhere to go before the night's over. But yeah, I'm like starting to drive him, and it's like, hey, do you know where it is, or kind of like what the area is, or anything like that? And he told me a road name, and it was actually from a part of Caldwell that I had lived in prior, like not in that exact area, but probably like 5 or 6 blocks from it. Oh yeah, I know where that is. I can get you over that way. So we start driving, and like it just goes in this weird spiritualism um, chat where he's talking about like some various spiritualistic stuff, and it's like it was like kind of abstract and foreign to me. And then he compared me to some sort of like land spirit or something. It's like, yeah, you're I think you might be a land spirit where basically you show up and you just help someone their life and then you disappear and all this. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, whatever you say. Like, I mean, I was willing to listen to it, but it was just like, yeah, I think you're kind of off base there. Like, I'm not some spirit or something. It's like I'm just a random dude trying to do my best, you know. But yeah, like got him all the way across town to where he needed to be. Got him dropped off, and he was like, "Oh, I don't have anything to give you, but if you want to like exchange numbers or something, like I could pay you back later." It's like, dude, you're fine. Like, first off, I don't really expect things from like people when I give them a ride. If they're just like hitching along and I'm kind enough to pick them up, like I don't want anything. Like I'm not picking you up because it's like I want you to pay for gas or anything like that. It's like I just want to help you because I want to help you. So I was like, nah, we're fine. And then the second thing too is like, this guy would be a little bit of a handful to have as a phone contact because he definitely was like super chatty, which I don't mind, but again, it was all weird spiritualism that's like, this is not quite my cup of tea. But again, to each their own. I generally don't really talk religion with people. Like I have my own beliefs and stuff, but I don't really like necessarily talking, unless it's people who like to talk about that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I was like, nah, you're fine, man. Like, cause yeah, he was offering to pay me back. It's like, no, no, dude. Like, I just wanted to get you where you needed to be. Like, you needed help. I wasn't just gonna like tell you no and go into my house when you approached me. It's like, no, like you needed help. I got you help, and I think I just told him like, hey man, just pay it forward when you can. Like when someone else needs help, just help them out, and you should be fine. Honestly, like I think if we all just help people when we can, like life is much better. Oh man, but yeah, no. Generally, I won't take money or anything from a hitcher. There was one that kind of basically forced me into it, and it was the other guy who same situation. Like I'd gotten home late at night, pulled up in the driveway at home, and then about to head in, and just kind of shows up. He's like, "Hey, man," like he was lost, but that's because he was drunk. Like he was 3 sheets from the wind, man, or 3 sheets to the wind, and like, "Hey, I need a ride to wherever," and I was like, not 100% sure where that is. And then he was talking about it a little bit more, and it's like, oh, do you mean like those new apartments off the boulevard? And he's like, yeah, those are the ones. I was like, okay, cool, that's perfectly fine, man. And then so that was actually not too far. Like he was a bit less lost than he could have been. Like I think he was maybe a half mile away from where he needed to be. It just, again, he was drunk, so navigation was a bit harder for him. Yeah, I drove him home. It wasn't a spiritualism thing with him. It was a, talking about what it means to be a man and other stuff, and you know, his view of honor and respect. Which it was like, okay, like I get it. A little bit more like probably toxic masculine than I would be. Like I have no qualms with masculinity. It's just some of his ideas, like, hey man, like you're a little bit over the edge there. But yeah, I got him back to his neighborhood, and it's like, okay, here you go, man, you're here. He's like, oh, here, take this money. I was like, dude, you don't owe me anything, man. Like, you just needed some help. I just wanted to help you. And then like, yeah, he was kind of taking offense to it. Actually, he's like, no, like you've done me a favor. You're not gonna tell me no. You're gonna take this money. Like this is yours. This is yours now. Like you've earned it. You deserve it. It's like it'll be an insult to me if you don't take it. It's like okay. Like I don't want to insult you. I'll take the money for gas. And like then like it was kind of one of those male bonding moments. It was weird. It was weird. Let me tell you. It hasn't really soured my opinion on picking up hitchhikers though, because I did have a experience where I had to. Well, I wasn't even going to hitch honestly, but it just kind of happened. Like when I was in university, I was coming back. I think it was either during winter break or for spring break, and I was driving. Like I would always leave late at night. That way, the roads would be clear. I wouldn't have to deal with any traffic. It'd just be a straight shot. And then once I got back home, I would just basically pass out and sleep for like a day or whatever. But this particular night, it was clear, like it always was when I would leave at that time. No cars for like all of the road until I get to this one corner. I see the first car that I've seen like all night in the oncoming lane, and it's one of those like really small highways, like I think they say one lane or whatever, where just one lane on each side. And I was like, okay, like that's interesting, because there was a huge ass rock in the middle of the road, and I mean like fucking big ass rock in the middle of my part of the road. So it's like I had three options basically: swerve into a car, which is a bad option, and this is the only car I've seen all night. tried to brake before the rock, which wasn't possible because I was going highway speeds. It was dark, and the rock was only shown really, like, it was really close because of the fact that I was going around a corner. Or drive off to the right side of the road into like a pit of rocks. So it's like, oh fuck, what do, like, I guess we'll hit the brakes, which slowed me down, but definitely didn't stop me from hitting the rock. Thing fucking messed up the undercarriage of my minivan that I had at the time. And yeah, I just drove it off to the side and I turned that shit off and I was like, it's like, what the fuck do I do? Because I was out of cell phone service range. I was just like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, what do I do? And someone like was actually coming the same way I was, and they saw me pulled off to the side, and they're like, "Oh man, like, do you need help?" I was like, "Yeah, like, can you just get me to the next town?" Like, I was driving along, and all of a sudden, like, first car I see on the road is also when I see a huge ass rock in the middle of my lane. And obviously, my car is not drivable right now. So if you get me to town so I can make a call, that would be beautiful. Because again, I was outside the cell phone range since Idaho's got a lot of mountainous area, and that's kind of what it was a little bit more mountainous area without cell phone coverage. So they drive me to, I think it was not New Plymouth, New Meadows. There we go. I think it was New Meadows, Idaho. Or it could have been the next one south of it. And either way, they drive me to like a very rural town, Idaho, because it was the next one on the way down. And I was like, "Hey, can I use your guys' phone?" When we got into a store or whatever, and the store person was like, "Yeah, it'd be fine." So I made a quick call from the phone to my dad. I was like, "Hey, Dad, my car is like fucking wrecked right now." Like, told him what had happened. I was like, would it be possible you come get me? And then, like, when I said that, the person who'd give me a ride to that town and to that store was like, "Hey, where are you headed out to?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm headed out to Caldwell." And she was like, "Hey, I'm actually headed out that way too. Like, you just want to catch a ride down there?" I was like, "That would be amazing." I told him, it's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I'll be catching a ride with this person down, random stranger, person I've never met before in my life." Um, and yeah, they gave me a ride all the way down from Caldwell, which I think would have been like 100 miles plus from there. And yeah, ever since that day, I've always been in the mind like, yeah, you should pick up hitchhikers when you can because you've been there. Even though you weren't like purposely looking for a ride from someone, you got it. So I always felt like I kind of owed that one to people at that point. I don't know. I probably don't owe them it, but I just always felt like it did since someone paid it forward real good for me. They got me out of a really bad spot into a much better spot. I was like, yeah. A simple ride for someone can be the thing that takes them from being in a just terrible situation that they have no clue how to resolve to such a situation that they are able to get either the help they need or at least get themselves sorted enough that they can solve it. So yeah, I've always been about picking up hitchhikers since then. Again, I've had some strange experience with hitchhikers, but most of the time I pick up hitchhikers, it's actually pretty normal. Like, it's usually just like, "Oh, do you need a ride?" It's like, "Oh yeah, can you drive me to wherever place?" And then, like, "Oh yeah, just throw your stuff in the back," and then boom, you drive them there. It's a super normal thing, super normal interaction. Sometimes there's not even much of an interaction. It's like, "Okay, cool, here you go." And they have a better day, you have a better day. It only costs you a little bit of time and a little bit of gas, and yeah. I don't know. Some people though seem to refuse to pick up hitchhikers, which I get it for some people. Some people are a little bit afraid because Yeah, I'm a big dude, so I think that's what kind of plays into it. Is I'm not really afraid of a lot of hitchhikers. Whereas, like, yeah, I could get if you're like a small female or something, like you might be a little bit more afraid, especially if like they're a big dude or something that's looking to catch a ride somewhere. So I don't know. I've definitely had people say no when I've offered them a ride, though, and I think that goes back to the being a big dude thing. Because like they see me and they're like, "Yeah, it's you're kind of intimidating." It's like I don't know, man. I don't think I'm that intimidating. Some people do, though. I've been called imposing before, which I don't know. I've also been described as a teddy bear, which I don't think is intimidating. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. What really matters though is it hasn't really stopped me from trying to help people when I can. Um, it might be a barrier to me helping people sometimes, but it's never stopped me from trying. Which I do think that's a important thing. Is just because like you might have a barrier of entry to something, or you might have something that makes you not as good off the bat for something. Doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't try it. I mean, I suck at streaming, obviously, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try it. uh, Self-deprecation humor is what ruined my last relationship, I think. I love making self-depreciating jokes or self-deprecative jokes, and they did not like me making those. So I don't know if you can't laugh at yourself and point out your own flaws and laugh about them, are you really being honest with yourself? Because I mean, if you just avoid mentioning your flaws and avoid trying to get into such a state that you can get over them, I feel like it's doing a disservice. Like self-depreciative humor does two things. It like lets you laugh about a part of yourself that's lacking, but it also helps you get past it. Makes it seem less intimidating, even if it's something that can be hard to overcome. And then if it's less intimidating, it's easier to put more effort towards it. I don't know. That's how I feel anyway. Let me take a look at something really quick. I just want to check and see if Mavriz is online yet. He didn't really say when he's getting off, I think, but let me just check. I'm going to look through chat. When was Mavriz's last message? Man, it was quite some while ago. It is so far back that it is gone. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember when he said you'd get off, or if he mentioned when you'd be getting off. But he did mention that he is down to play some Tales of Symphonia at that point, which is pretty cool. It's one of his favorites, I think, and I'm enjoying it. It's definitely not like a game that I have any nostalgia for or anything, but I do think the mechanics are interesting. Um, I guess it's kind of prepping me in a way for like other games like it too. They have the more active battle system where you like actively control your character and have them attack and fight and stuff, versus like you know turn based or even like those real time turn based ones, um, where it's like the turn timer keeps ticking up even when you're like making decisions and stuff. I think they call those like active turn based actually. I don't know. I know some of the Final Fantasies had those as an option. I was always like, no, I don't like that as much because I like to take my time to decide on that. So it's like you really don't get that much time to the side. I mean, it can be pretty good for planning like attacks on the fly, or maybe setting up some strategies on the fly. But yeah, I'm just not 100% on that. Okay, let's see. You know what? I had French toast yesterday or today. I can't remember, and it reminded me of something that I wanted to rant about. What we call liberal pancakes, man. Which this is more of like a joke about pancakes in general, because I fucking hate pancakes, like regular ass pancakes. But there's this restaurant that Mavericks and I used to frequent all the time, and at that restaurant, like we'd usually get the same servers. Like there was this one older lady that was actually a server that I knew from a different restaurant that I used to frequent when I worked in a different career. And it's funny because yeah, that one, she worked at the airport Denny's when I worked in car rental. So it's like when I would go to Denny's, she was the server. Then like when I'd moved to city, um Mavis and I would work out and stuff because I actually had time to work out. I wasn't pulling 60-hour weeks all the time with like one day off a week. I was only working 4 days a week, or no, 5 days a week. I was only working 5 days a week at first. Eventually, it was 4 days a week. Um, but yeah, only 40 hours a week. Didn't have to pull any overtime or anything. It was beautiful. And yeah, I was like, oh, I got plenty of time to work out now. So yeah, Mavericks and I would work out, and a lot of times I would be like, "Oh, Mavericks, let's go to Sherry's because it's a really great restaurant." And yeah, one time I was like, this server seems familiar, and not from this restaurant. And I was like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. She's like, yeah. And I was like, is it is that the Sherry's from Boise? She's like, no, it was Boise, but it was actually the airport Denny's. I was like, fuck. Like I knew you were familiar. Cause yeah, me and I guess my current roommate, who's one of my best friends, like we'd go in there after work like fairly often. I'd say a few times a week, and she was probably our server half the time. It's kind of funny, like if you go to a restaurant frequently, seems like a lot of times you get like the same two or three servers. But yeah, she was one of the two servers that would frequently be there when we would show up after a workout. I think we had a workout though that ended a lot earlier than normal though, and with that, we had a different server than normal, and she just had like the look of a person who seemed liberal, like had like dyed hair, body modification, stuff like that. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Um, it just I like to think it's funny for the liberal pancakes, you know, liberals sabotaging us with their pancakes. I don't really care. Well, I do care about getting pancakes, but no, like basically at Sherry's at that time, if you ordered breakfast item, you'd be given like the choice of like toast, French toast, pancakes, hash browns. I think like maybe some sort of vegetable or something. Which I was super in the mood for French toast that night, and she took my order. I ordered a breakfast item. She never asked me what I wanted for the side, and I was like, oh, they're probably out of like the other options. So it's probably gonna be like toast or something, which just seemed like the standard. That seemed like the default. Like if I didn't have an option, I felt like toast was the default. But no, she takes our order, and then I think like 10, 15 minutes later, whatever, like our food comes out, and it's pancakes. I fucking hate pancakes. But I also realized that like it was half my fault for not being like, hey, what are my choices for sides? Like I should have confirmed instead of assuming that the Default would be toast. And yeah, there's only one way I can eat pancakes. Like I have to fucking drown those things in butter or butter and maple syrup. Like I have to drown those because I don't want to taste the pancake. Pancakes are gross. I don't like the taste of them. The texture's actually pretty good. The taste is just terrible though. I much prefer waffles, and I really wanted French toast that night, which is like A tier breakfast food. Yeah, the whole time, like I'm just bitching to like Mavericks, like, oh man, fucking pancakes, like, goddamn, like I should have checked. And he's just laughing about it, like he doesn't give a shit. He's eating like his food. His food's all what he was expecting, what he ordered, and like the scrambler omelet I got was super good. But yeah, just I was tainted by the fact that it's like, yeah, pancakes. I hate pancakes. And I can't even say all pancakes because, like a crepe or a German pancake, I really like those. But like a traditional pancake, like a flapjack, whatever you want to call them, there's just something about them. The taste is just, and the batter is even pretty close to the batter used for waffles and stuff. But waffles are like objectively better. They taste much nicer. They're usually crisp on the outside, fluffy on the inside. And you don't really get that same flavor. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something about waffles is like you put them in a waffle maker and then magic happens and they're good. I mean, obviously the batter is a little bit different than pancakes, but it's not like so different that you'd imagine like one being just garbage and the other one being gold. So I don't know, man. Got a weird view on pancakes. Let's see here. It is currently almost 11 p.m. A little bit over 19 hours into the stream. Let me check my pulse really quick, see if I'm good to re up on caffeine. Yeah, my pulse is pretty steady. Like it's at a pretty low rate. Not low as in like, oh man, I need to worry about it, but low as in like, probably below 100 beats per minute, which, I think the average heartbeat, like, average is somewhere between like 60 to 100 beats. Um, so yeah. I think I'm probably good for a little bit more caffeine. Grab some water really quick. Okay, there we go. Trying to keep my throat and nasal cavity from going dry as well. And just, I don't know, I need a humidifier or something because my nasal cavity is just killing me. There's something about being up for 24 hours and talking for a majority of that time that is kind of brutal on the whole inner workings of your throat, of your nasal cavity. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I do need some recovery time. Talking about tomorrow, I actually have dinner with my folks, so I have to make sure to set an alarm so I can get up early enough for that. I also need to email my grandma. Let me do that really quick because my grandma, she still does email, and that is not what I normally do, except for her. Let me just send something off to her really quick. just letting her know that I will be over sometime tomorrow. Um, Probably a little bit before I go over to my parents'. Okay, there we go. Just remembered because I've been meaning to email her for like a couple of days now. Just this week has went by pretty quick on me. Um, Ruinous sleep schedule has been getting me for this week. A lot of days have kind of blended together. And like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'll stream Friday into Saturday, and then like be fine for Sunday. It's like, oh shit, I got plans on Sunday, but I'm still gonna do a 20, like finish this 24-hour stream. I started it. I'm devoted to it. Got to make sure to actually set an alarm for tomorrow, but we'll do that now after the stream. Let's see here. Did kind of take care of all of these story things I wanted to go over before just as kind of like a little bit of an intermission, you know. I didn't want to fill up the whole stream with like story stuff because you know I like talking about uh stories or experiences, but I don't know, I'm really bad at like recalling a whole bunch of them, so I don't know that I want to tell any of my piss stories right now. Maybe one day I'll go over some of my piss stories, but definitely none of them right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to a smaller camera here, and I think I will pull up my switch again. Let me just get that going.